welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Hishain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Island-wide curfew imposed from 6 p.m. today until 6 a.m. Monday. United Nations warns of an impending global recession amidst COVID-19 crisis. News in detail. An island-wide curfew has been imposed from 6 p.m. today until 6 a.m. on Monday as a measure to control the travel and gathering of the society in wave of COVID-19. However, addressing the cabinet decision press conference today, Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena assured that the curfew will not hinder the essential services such as health, security, private security and port services. By today evening, the number of COVID-19 positive cases has surpassed 60, and in this backdrop, the President Office today announced that an island-wide curfew will be imposed from 6 p.m. today until 6 a.m. on Monday. The curfew is imposed to prevent violation of provisions and regulations of the Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance imposed for prevention of spreading COVID-19. The acting IGP C.D. Vikramaratne said that the flight passengers headed towards Katunayake Airport can use their air ticket as a curfew permit. Meanwhile, Co-Cabinet spokesperson Ms. Dr. Bandula Gunawardena added that the island-wide curfew will not obstruct essential public services, especially health, security, private security, media and port services. Minister also added that the Manning market will reopen on Monday morning. Moreover, in view of COVID-19, the government has also banned leisure trips, pilgrimages and tours within the country with immediate effect until further notice. In this juncture, the Railway Control Room said that all train services are halted from 3:30 p.m. today and will resume at 6 a.m. on Monday. The Secretary-General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, warns that a global recession, perhaps of record dimensions, is near certainty, and he stressed that the current responses at the country level will not address the global scale and complexity of the crisis. Antonio Guterres made these observations yesterday, speaking to reporters from UN headquarters in New York City.
A global recession, perhaps of record dimensions, is a near certainty. The International Labour Organization has just reported that workers around the world could lose as much as $3.4 trillion in income by the end of this year. This is above all a human crisis that calls for solidarity. Our human family is stressed and the social fabric is being torn. People are suffering, sick and scared. And current responses at the country level will not address the global scale and complexity of the crisis. This is a moment that demands coordinated, decisive and innovative policy action from the world's leading economies. We must recognize that the poorest and most vulnerable, especially women, will be the hardest hit. I welcome the decision by G20 leaders to convene an emergency summit next week to respond to the epic challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, and I look forward to taking part. My central message is clear. We are in an unprecedented situation and the normal rules no longer apply. We cannot resort to the usual tools in such unusual times. The creativity of the response must match the unique nature of the crisis, and the magnitude of the response must match its scale. Our world faces a common enemy. We are at war with a virus. COVID-19 is killing people as well as attacking the real economy at its core: trade, supply chains, businesses, jobs.
UNP leader and former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the government has so far failed to respond to their request of convening a party leaders' meeting. Issuing a statement to the media, the UNP leader says that the government will face a huge financial issue after the 30th of April as the parliament had not passed funds to run the country. Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government so far has failed to introduce a perfect and united recovery plan from the coronavirus outbreak. He also highlights that the Parliament passed a vote on account for a period of 4 months and that period ends on the 30th of April. The former Prime Minister Wickremesinghe stresses that the government is not authorized to use the funds from the Consolidated Fund after that date, and the government will be in trouble unless they go for a party leaders' meeting to discuss the ways and means. He also asserts that the President is authorized to take funds from the Consolidated Fund only after the date of the new session of a new Parliament. As the Parliament election has been postponed due to coronavirus outbreak, no one knows the date to convene the Parliament. Accordingly, Wickremesinghe reminds the government to prioritize the safeguarding of the country instead of looking for political advantages at this moment. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the decision to acquire 200-acre land in order to establish an Air Force camp in Mattala Rajapaksa Airport. Sri Lanka Air Force provides security to all airports in Sri Lanka. Mattala Rajapaksa Airport is considered as a strategically important airport in the Indian Ocean region, and an Air Force camp, which is similar to the camp operated in Katunaika Bandaranaike International Airport, is required to be set up therein. Considering the proposal presented by the Ministry of Mahaweli, Agriculture, Irrigation and Rural Development, the Cabinet of Ministers has decided to allocate 200-acre adjoining land in extent for this purpose. Meanwhile, the Cabinet has also given the nod to issue a skills license to national vocational qualification holders. Addressing the media, Co-Cabinet spokesperson Mr. Dr. Bandula Gunawardene today highlighted that it is planned to launch a pilot project to introduce a skills license for skilled craftsmen with national vocational qualifications and for migrant workers in partnership with the International Labour Organization and the Ceylon Employers Federation to enhance the recognition of this methodology. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by the Minister of Skills Development, Employment and Labour Relations to issue a skills license to skilled NVQ certificate holders who possess at least 1 year experience in the form of a smart card. Paramount Realty Director and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Nirmal De Silva stresses that real estate sector can thrive by investing in retirement living since the country has a high aging population. He made this observation at the launch of the 4th Property Guru Asia Property Awards Sri Lanka held in Colombo recently.
There is a lot of impetus on retirement living. I think Sri Lanka is also hitting an aging population, so there will be a lot of opportunities coming up in the retirement living space. Interestingly, in Sri Lanka, the people who have got into that space are the non-traditional developers, typically people who come from a different background but who provide associated services for the retirement population. But we would see in the future more and more developers getting into that.
The Colombo Stock Exchange was reopened for trading today after a 4-day pause with revised trading hours. The Board of Directors of the CSE decided to close the market today at 12 noon in view of the curfew imposed by the government. Thus, at this juncture, the research head of the First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, will provide us a detailed analysis on the performances of the stocks for this week with a stock forecast for the coming week.
This week, out of the 5 days, the 4 days the market was closed with the coronavirus spreading across the country. However, on Friday, the market reopened for a short period of time from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We saw heavy selling pressure in the market with the S&P SL20 index dropping 11.9% and ASPI, the all share price index, dropping by 6.22%. So significant selling pressure across the boards, all blue chip counters, retail counters, penny stocks across the board, all counters in all sectors saw heavy selling pressure. Blue chip stocks fell by in between 10 to 15% across the board. We saw high turnover levels in most of the blue chip counters, mainly Sampath Bank, Commercial Bank, John Case Holdings, Hatton National Bank and Dialog. All shares seeing significant amount of selling pressure. There's a weak amount of buying in the market that was present, but towards the end of the day, towards the 12 o'clock, we saw some settlement of the market where there was buying interest sort of coming into the market, and with most of the bargain hunters starting to take control and a bit of buying interest coming into the market.
Speaking further, the research head of First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, noted that high selling pressure in the stock market will remain in the coming week if the situation on the coronavirus pandemic gets worse.
Looking at the outlook for next week, we feel that until this coronavirus gets under control, there is likely to be heavy selling pressure in the market. If it accelerates, then market selling pressure is also likely to further accelerate. However, as at now, we feel there's a lot more selling pressure in the market that is likely to bring the index down. Even if things get under control, there will be a bit of selling pressure for the next couple of days as well. After that, similar to the global markets, the stock market in Colombo is also likely to have some sort of stability as the days progress. And with that, we feel that turnover levels are likely to be moderate and then slowly decline as the days progress, as most investors may adopt a wait and see approach. So we feel that there is likely to be bargain hunters, but as the index declines, the bargain hunters are likely to increase, then only the market decline is likely to slow down. So we expect towards the end of the coming week for there to be some stability in the market where more buyers may be looking at the market.
Stay tuned for stock updates. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 303.10 points to close at 4,571.63, and the S&P SL20 dropped 258.55 points to close at 1,947.42. The turnover was 420 million rupees and over 23 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. And that's all news for today, and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest news and updates. With that, we'll be signing out for today and see you tomorrow with Best Roundup. Until then, take care, good night.